Good evening. Forgive me for my bad Spanish, but I will say hola. Hola. ¿Cómo está? ¿Está bien? That's all I have. I want to say that we gather now at a moment in American history where our nation is extremely fragmented, where oftentimes brothers and sisters who come from other parts of the world are held up as scapegoats in a political conversation that is not about bringing our nation together, but rather in making scapegoats out of people who have made this nation great. We as a nation are deeply indebted to the presence of Latinos in this country, for our nation would be no better than it is if it was not for your presence here. And we say thank you, thank you. We say gracias, gracias for the presence of you in this nation. You have come from great and long ways in order to pursue great dreams for yourself, and we are ultimately dependent on one another to ensure that our nation lives up to its creed when it says that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we build upon that legacy, and we say that when in the course of human events it is required of citizens throughout the world to gather themselves and say that we are called to something greater than our national identities, that we are called to be interdependent. And that calling of interdependence requires each and every one of us to depend on one another, to support each other in whatever our endeavors are. And so we say to our national leaders, as we have gathered in this place now, we have gathered in places throughout the world, to say to one another that we are bound up, that we are linked in a way that is inseparable, that we cannot